Hi, Conway. If you missed our paint night, I am going to take you through what we did. We decided not to post the Google Meet because it was a little chaotic. A lot of you got to join, which was super exciting. And if you didn't, here is a quick instructional video on how to make the winter landscape that we did. All right, so I have a cup of water, a paintbrush, and then I have my paints. You should have the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. And you should also have white, black, and brown. We won't need any more than that. If you're disappointed that you didn't get something like green or purple, hopefully you remember that you can actually make those colors. So if you really, really want to use orange, you could mix red and yellow. If you really want to use green, which I'm going to use today, then you can mix yellow and blue. And if you really want purple, we can mix red and blue. All right, so let's get started. I've got my canvas, and like I said, we're going to paint a winter landscape. So the first thing I'm going to do is dip my paintbrush in the black. I only got a little bit. And I'm going to paint in a horizon line. That is the line that separates the sky from the ground. All right, if you are in second grade, you might remember, or first grade, you might remember that from our landscape paintings that we did earlier this year. All right, next, because I want a winter landscape, I want to put some snow in the sky. So I want to make a dark sky so I can have the snow like show up really, really well. All right, so I got a lot of black this time because I'm doing a big night sky, and I'm just sweeping it back and forth until I have almost no paint left on my brush, and then I'll get some more. If you'd like, you can add some blue into your sky. Just make sure you wash your paintbrush before you change colors. You could also add some red into your sky. You could mix red and blue to put those in your sky to make a purple. All right, so see how I'm making sure I go all the way down to the horizon line, because hopefully you remember the sky touches the ground. So when we are coloring or painting, we always color in the sky from the top of our paper all the way to the ground. All right, so I'm painting my sky. I am making my paintbrush go all in the same direction. That keeps your paint smooth, and then it won't look scribble scrabbly. But if you kind of like how it goes all over the place, then feel free to paint in different directions. All right, so now I'm going to wash my paintbrush and add some blue. So remember, when you wash your paintbrush has to touch the bottom of your water cup, and then swirl it around to get a good scrub, and then dip it in the water, drip, let it drip off, and then wipe it on the lip. We say dip, drip, wipe it on the lip. So I'm getting some blue. I'm going to add some blue in. And I'm just mixing it straight on the canvas. I'm not even worrying about mixing it on a paper plate or a paper towel or anything like that, because I can just mix it straight on the canvas. And if I made a color that I don't really like, the awesome thing about paint is that if it's wet, you can wipe most of it off. And if it's dry, you can just paint right over top of it. All right, so I'm just adding some blue, mixing it in with my black a little bit to get a nice, really dark blue sky. You could leave it black if you wanted. Remember, I said you could add some red. I would not add yellow. Usually there's not yellow in a sky, so if you want to make it look more realistic, I would not add yellow unless you're painting like a sunset or something. But I'm painting a night sky, and usually there's no yellow in the night sky. Oh, you might hear my dog in the background. He's having fun playing. All right, there is my night sky. Now I'm going to make sure I have all of this paint off of my paintbrush. And I am going to leave the ground white because I want it to be covered in snow. All right, if you want to paint it white, you can paint it white, but since it's already white, I'm just going to leave it white. The next thing I'm going to do is add some trees. So you might know that some trees lose their leaves before the winter, so maybe you'll draw a brown tree with no leaves and you'll just add the trunk and the branches. But I'm going to paint what we call an evergreen tree. Those are trees that don't lose their leaves, so they're green forever. So I just got some yellow on my paintbrush and I am making a triangle and I'm tapping my paintbrush because that way it makes it look really leafy. It gives it some texture, so it's not smooth like the sky because trees aren't really smooth. Alright, you might notice it's starting to look a little green already. That's because I have some blue in my sky, and blue and yellow make green. Alright, so now I made a triangle, evergreen tree. I'm going to wash my paintbrush, get a tiny bit of blue, and mix the blue in. Tiny bit of blue. Blue is a much stronger color than yellow is. So when you're making green, you only need a little bit of blue and you need a lot of yellow. All right. Here we go. There's my tree. I think I'm going to add a little more yellow because it's starting to blend in with the sky and I want it to stand out a little more. Here we go. And then when it's all dry, you can go back over it. So if it's still kind of blending in with the sky, don't worry. Just wait until your sky is dry and you can come back to it and add another layer and make it stand out a little more. So you might notice I'm adding another one. This one is tiny and it's higher up because it's far away. This one is bigger and it's lower down because it's closer up. Not everything you paint has to sit on the horizon line, right? Some people only paint stuff right here on the horizon line, but you can make it lower because things that are closer go down lower on the paper. All right, so before I add some snow in the sky, I'm going to add one more thing. You could add some animals, you could add a snowman, you could add, what else could you add? I'm going to add a house, so you can add a house if you want to. You can add whatever else you want on the ground. And then after we're done putting some stuff on the ground, then we will add some snow in the sky. So I am adding a little house. I am making it red because that's a color I have not used yet. And I want to include all the colors. Alright, so I'm making a square house, but I want to turn it 3D. So if you're in 2nd or 3rd grade, you might remember that a 3D square is called a cube. So I'm going to paint a cube. I just added slanted lines that are pointing up. They're all pointing in the same direction. They're coming out of 3 of the corners, so the 2 top corners and the bottom corner. Okay, now I'm going to paint in the side. Here we go. And I'm going to give it a roof. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw a triangle that connects to the corners of my square. And then I'm going to add a slant that goes back to the back of the cube. There's my triangle. And ta-da. Now I'll add a door, some windows, and there we go. The last thing I'm going to do is add some snow. So the way that you will add the snow, there's 2 ways. There's a messy way and a not messy way. So if you want to do the messy way, you need to make sure that your table is protected. So you need to make sure that you have like a tablecloth or some newspaper or something under your canvas so that your table doesn't get messy. The clean way is like this. I took some white, put it on my paintbrush, Now I'm just going to add little dots for my snowflakes. I could add a moon if I wanted to. So I'm just adding snowflakes all the way around. And then the messy way is you can get some white paint on your paintbrush, and you can take one finger and pet your paintbrush. So I'm going to swipe my finger over my paintbrush upwards, and it's kind of hard to show you on the screen. But when I do that, it splatters the paint all over. So I'm going to do that down here, and then I'll show you what it looks like. It might make lines, it might make dots. It's kind of unpredictable when you do this, but it's kind of fun. All right, there we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna wash my paintbrush, wash my hands. I only got one finger messy. Maybe I got this one a little bit messy too, but I'm pretty clean. And I'm gonna clean up everything and hang up my winter landscape to show everybody. All right. Thanks for joining me, guys. Have a great night and have a great winter break if you have not had winter break yet. And I will see you around. Bye.